Welcome to the Compressor Guru. After the delay of having the connecting rod machined, we join the Guru in progress. He is feverishly installing the intercooler on the Ingersoll Rand 242 and finishing the compressor in this episode. We are going to join him in progress. Here's the Compressor Guru.
Okay, so our intercooler's back on, our seal housing's back on. Something that we didn't show was the cleanup, and I don't know if I even showed any of the painting of the intercoolers. But with the intercoolers, you notice we got nice straight fins. When these were in the parts washer, we had a lot of dust, a little bit of grease on them, and we made sure that was all off there. The cleaner these fins are, the more heat it will dissipate from this side to this side and extend this life. And as important as it is to rinse the inside of the tube and make sure you have no debris or no clogs on the inside, it's nearly as important to make sure the outside is as clean as you can get it. And I would like to have left this the original machinery green, because I've really enjoyed working on a machine this old, but the black is going to dissipate more heat, and the machine is going to run longer, better, and cooler by being painted black.
So I was zeroed in when you were saying from here to here?
From here to here, the hot air goes in this side and brings it down probably 60 to 100 degrees in temperature from here to here. Another thing about this compressor was we found a bad valve on this high pressure side. This safety valve is right here, and it protects this. These tubes are only good for about 100 psi. Somebody, because I know what happened, this started popping because that valve broke, and they just stuck a 200 psi pressure safety valve in here. I buffed it up on the wire wheel this morning, and this is a 200 psi. So we will put a new 100 psi safety on here before delivered back to the customer. And it's in the office, you're not going to see it go on. But when these pop on your compressor, they're popping for a reason. Generally these don't go bad. When these pop, it's giving you an indication you have a high pressure valve problem. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands before I touch those gaskets. That's how fussy they are.
Okay.
You can stop it. Oh, it's going to hurt too.
So these are the fussy gaskets.
Okay, remember back in the valve episode where we rebuilt these heads on the desk over here, I said about how if these screws come loose, they can't escape because they'll be captured. If you take a look at where these nuts are and where these screws are, it goes on there just like that. And even if these come loose, which they're not going to because I tightened them and Loctited them, and there's lock washers on them. Even if those come loose, those nuts can't get out and those screws can't get out because they're trapped in these little cast holes. So let's get our gaskets for this side. I have washed my hands and there is no petroleum residue on my hands because these are that touchy. Set that on my... You're okay.
Okay.
Okay, we got to make sure these go on the correct way, like that. By the way, our bolt holes don't line up if you try to put this gasket on the wrong way. Okay, we don't always have the benefit of having such distinct markings, but you can see where the cylinder on this goes, and it's pretty simple. This finger goes into here, so we simply roll that over and that's in place. This one's slightly tougher to hold, however a little easier to figure out because we have to match this internal casting to the shape of the gasket. I'll grab a bolt, drop a bolt through 2 places. Oh, careful. Careful, bud. Okay, the Guru saved it. Get our bolts started. Torque high pressure head bolts to 35 pound after installation of gaskets. After 15 minutes, retorque at 35, and after 30 minutes, retorque at 35. That's what it took.
Needed a new bolt.
Okay.
How long do we wait before we retorque?
15 minutes with the other head on. Same process on the low pressure side. Believe it or not, this is all clean and dry, but this is stained this way from whatever corrosion, whatever caustic water got in this and laid in it so long. So we're going to take and make sure we have our plates lined up. Remember, we talked about on the other side, we've got a couple holes in the casting to where the screws, even if they come loose, can't get down in the cylinder wall. And these screws are threaded into the plate. Can you see that?
Where they're threaded? No, you have it turned. But yes.
So it goes on there just like that. Since we're having issues, we got 4 new bolts. And we will use our new bolts on this. And the nice part about this, as opposed to the 2475s, you got to have about 6 hands to hold everything in place. Because these bolts go down into the casting, it's actually much easier with this unit to set the heads on. Now we want to make sure we run our gasket the correct way, and that's it right there. Notice that the gasket has an opening. This is the discharge valve and goes to the intercooler. The suction valve goes down to these. And let's just roll our head up on. You can make sure your head is in the correct place by these stoppers that will hit the back of these valves. They only let those valves move, you know, a small fraction of an inch.
These stoppers?
These
Those
cast
guys.
iron stoppers right there.
Okay.
Will only let those valves move about the thickness of that gasket. So I'm going to roll that. Go like that.
Put a bolt in it.
And once again, my hands are perfectly clean. We do not... Yep. Our gasket's upside down. These bolts, this bolt pattern is not symmetrical. It only goes one way. Good? Yeah, good. There we go. Okay, that's once at 50 pound. We're going to let these gaskets set for 15 minutes and then retorque them. In that meantime, I'm going to reinstall the flywheel. We got our half moon key. Ooh. And get it nice and straight. Get her started. Pull it down in.
And this is the keyway.
Spread that keyway a little wee bit. We make sure our arrow is on the outside. There is an inside and an outside to this wheel. See how nicely that slipped on just by spreading that with that chisel. And this was flush. I should have made note of it, but that wheel was flush with the shaft when we tore it up, when we tore it off. If you're wondering how tight to make this, just short of breaking the bolt. These occasionally do have a flywheel bolt come loose, and flywheels come loose. Hopefully they don't come off, but I'm guessing that's probably a 100-pound torque. And we have one safety valve to put back on. I found a use safety for the customer. And 2 lines, and this machine with a little bit of paint's ready to go back delivered. We'll live and fast forward and put these lines on. This line will probably be eliminated. This is your unloader, and the unloader, I'm putting this on for show right now, but this unloader doesn't work. This centrifugal unloader, remember, we don't have a pin in it. I'm guessing that when the compressor is all up and running, when it shuts down, it may start hard. I already have the pressure switch, and I'll grab it. I already have the pressure switch, and instead of mechanically unloading the compressor after it shuts down, we'll use a little valve on a pressure switch to drain it down. I'm not sure. Well, I shouldn't say that. With the age of this machine, it may be a little more difficult to get the correct pin for under this unloader. That pin was missing when we tore it apart. So if the compressor starts hard, we will change this pressure switch on the tank. And I'll show you the switch here in a second. There. So this switch will be mounted on the tank, and this valve right here, when this switch turns the compressor off, this valve opens. So if it starts hard, we'll take this line off and we'll run a new line from here to here. When the compressor shuts down, this opens and bleeds off the extra pressure from the head. The check valve sits about right here, so the pressure between the check valve and the head goes to 0, and this starts, and it has a chance to build some RPMs before building pressure then. So when it shuts down, we'll be electronically or electrically operating a valve, and we'll be eliminating this. I'm going to give this to the customer, and I'll probably end up going up and replacing it. But that's because we're not fixing the centrifugal unloader, this is the option. And the customer is running a auto repair shop without compressed air right now, so it's important that we get this back to them. We're 6 hours late. By the time we get it into his hands, we're going to be 8 hours late.
Say that again.
I had a good use safety valve. The safety is set at 100 psi. And we are replacing the incorrect safety valve that was 200 psi. I'm very pleased for the customer's sake that he never blew one of these coolers out by overpressuring them. There's a reason this is at 100. I'll retorque my bolts for the second time, put some paint on, and we'll call it a day. I still have to retorque them one last time. Friends, we're going to leave it here. You're not going to see the next retorquing. You're not going to see me putting paint on. You're not going to see me putting it on the truck. However, we will go to the customers once it's installed, up and running, and we're going to show you it running with the air filter, and we're going to show it running with the air filter and the silencer the customer bought to help the noise in his shop. We will do this with the same camera with no adjustment to the audio, taking it from the same distance, and we will show you the improved sound quality by buying one of these mufflers. It's on thecompressorguru.com. Thank you for watching. This was an in my mind, a convoluted series because we humped all weekend trying to get this done, and then we ran into machine problems, then we had a bolt problem, then it just seemed like a lot of problems. Like I said, I flat rated this machine at 8 hours, and you know the old saying, sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you. The bear ate us on this. We will charge the customer 8 hours, even though we're quite a bit over it. Thank you. God bless. Like, subscribe. Right down here at the corner of the thing, there's a little compressor. Move your mouse over there. You'll see the subscribe button jump up. Thank you. God bless, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Compressor Guru. Please hit like and subscribe and use the notify bell so you will know when the next new episode is released from The Compressor Guru. God bless you and have a great day.